Live again on a Wednesday. It's Cole and Steven on Under Review. Thank you so much for joining us. If you're joining us live on Facebook, wherever and however you may be listening. If you're joining us now on a recorded, maybe you're watching the recording on Facebook, maybe you're watching the recording on YouTube. We got all those pages, don't we, Steven?
Man, follow us on everything because yours truly set that up, guys. I would love some followers because, follow me and you will see all this legit content that if you miss it live, like Cole always says, live on a Wednesday.
Yeah.
We were talking before the show, Cole, and you were asking me if I wanted to intro, and I don't think I could do it that good.
I
All you.
Bring it. I try and bring it.
The live on the Wednesday night is just I can't.
Live on a Wednesday.
There we go. It's that smooth jazz voice, All right, Cole. Let's get it started real quick here. We want to move a little bit quicker through the weekend rewind.
Weekend rewind. I like that.
Weekend rewind. We want to keep it a little quick here. Because we've been taking the most time on this. So I want to go ahead and start us off with a bigger game this weekend. We saw Auburn play. We saw Alabama play. We kind of got into SEC play this week. So I want to know what you think about the Auburn-LSU game.
Well, looking back at that game, I think you saw two teams. Obviously, I think at the end of the day, Auburn was the better football team in this matchup. I think LSU, most people are going to point to those penalties towards the end of the game, the pass interference penalties. But at the end of the day, if you're Auburn, you can't leave yourself with that little of margin of error to try and win that football game. I think LSU towards down the stretch, they played really well. Joe Burrow, I can't say enough about the guy. He was very impressive in that game. He made the throws he had to. Jarrett Stidham played poorly. Gus Malzahn resulted back to his old ways of calling plays that were so dead end and really not taking the air out of the football. He tried to throw on downs, obvious running downs when you're 8 minutes left in the game and you're up by 11? I think it was 21-10. I think they scored
was 20.
Or not 21-10.
It was something close.
Something close to that. They were up big, and LSU obviously comes back in the football game. Questionable calls down the stretch. I still think Auburn is okay right now. I think at this point there's a lot of schedule in front of them with Mississippi State, Alabama, and Georgia still in front of them. They can still play their way back into the playoff picture. But obviously this is a concern just personally for Auburn fans because we're seeing kind of a repetitiveness of Gus Malzahn dropping games that maybe they shouldn't, especially when you're up by two different scores.
Right.
So, a level of concern. I don't think it's time to push the panic button just yet. I think Auburn is still good. I think that, obviously you pay Gus Malzahn all that money and you want to see some results on the field. Still think there's possibility to see it. But you have to be a little concerned, right, Steven?
Yeah, as I say, Auburn controls their own destiny from now on, so I wouldn't worry about them too much because, like you just said, they control every single game from now on. So if they win out, they're good. They're fine. I would be panicked if I was an Auburn fan, specifically just because of the Gus Malzahn trend that you mentioned. There's been too many times where in the second half they've won the first half of the game. I mean, if you go based off first halves of a lot of these games that Auburn's played since Malzahn's been head coach, that they've lost, you go to the first half, they won the game.
Yeah,
they won the game in the first half,
for sure.
And then they come back in the second half, and I don't know what happens to them. I don't know defensively if they try to go into different schemes, or offensively they just try to they let their foot off the gas pedal almost, Cole.
Yeah, they did.
And they did that, and I think LSU just kind of came back and keep fighting. I want to know real quick before we touch on this. I think Auburn honestly was probably the better football team,
right.
But I think they shot themselves in the foot too much. Jarrett Stidham threw very easy interceptions.
Yes.
And it's just
the guys say they were very bad.
They're bad interceptions.
Yeah.
Bad interceptions. Just I don't know if he was just careless or what. He's supposed to be their savior almost sometimes, and he just kind of.
I think they're living and dying by Jarrett Stidham right now because the running game has suffered so much. It's not
and
consistent at all.
They had a decent run game. I think was his
Jartavius Whitlow.
Yeah, I was saying,
Jartavius Whitlow. I believe that's how you pronounce his name.
22 carries, 104 yards, and a touchdown. They didn't have a bad run game like they normally. I mean, they had in this year so far. But I just think they didn't do enough, and they just shot themselves in the foot too consistently. And LSU just took advantage when they needed to. What do you think before we get off this game, move on to the next one? What do you think about the pass interferences late in the game that we saw? Because we saw LSU march down the field, on that final drive.
Right.
And we saw two pass interferences that played a key part in the game. I've had friends and Auburn fans and different things come up and say the refs controlled the end of that game. What do you think?
I never like when officials seem to get in the way of the ending of football games. I never like it to be determined by them. But that the first one was iffy. I think that could have been let go. I think if you're the officials, the first interference call on that drive, you let that one go. But the second one, I'm sorry, Auburn fans, that one was so obvious. You just couldn't hide it. The guy had him in an arm bar. I mean, you got to call it. Like I said, I never want the officials to determine an outcome. But, I mean, you got to give the guy a chance. He didn't play the football at all. He played his arm pretty much and just tried to pull it down and prevent. Because if he doesn't pull his arm down, I think he's probably going to come down.
Right, and it's hard for an official because there's certain hand fighting that goes on.
There's a lot that goes on.
There's obvious hand fighting that goes on. You don't want to call just when they're fighting back and forth hand fighting, but at some point, like you said, you got to call it. I've seen the one that went viral. He did have his arm. That's a tough call.
Greedy Williams. Has his arm, let's not forget Greedy Williams in the first half got away with an obvious pass interference call, and then he goes to the crowd like this because he got away with it. He knew that they didn't even see him interfere with it. So that's what I think Auburn fans are complaining about today. Maybe not so much the ones that were called. Maybe the calls that weren't called.
Yeah, I think Auburn fans are more mad that it wasn't called consistently, more so than that it was called at the end of the game.
I'd have to agree.
But LSU wins that game 22-21, looking good. 2 top 10 wins, like you said last week, Cole. That puts LSU firmly in a driver's seat.
Yeah,
they're looking very good.
They are.
Now, I want to go to the next probably tough test that LSU faces, or the very tough test. Alabama. Alabama just played Ole Miss this past weekend. Now I believe they did dominate. Before I get to that, I just want to say that this was the first real test that Bama defense that me and you have talked about, that we didn't like some stuff we saw where they missed assignments, they left guys open. I could have definitely seen Ole Miss scoring a lot with that high-powered offense where they scored like 60 and 70 in the first 2 weeks, something like that. I mean, it was crazy amount of points in the first 2 weeks.
The offense put up ridiculous numbers right now. Very impressed by it.
And so Ole Miss comes in and Bama shuts them down for 7 points, just 1 touchdown on blown coverage, first play of the game. So what did you see in that game?
Well, I think you look at it, and obviously the talent margin is still just so substantial. Obviously, Ole Miss has tremendous athletes. A.J. Brown, Metcalf on the outside. They're both fantastic receivers. Ole Miss is going to score points on a lot of people. I mean, they're going to score points on LSU, Auburn probably as well. Obviously, Alabama's a little step ahead. I think Ole Miss got hyped up in that game because that first touchdown, and Nick Saban alluded to it in I think it was the halftime interview, that there was a little bit of miscommunication and busted coverage. I think Savion Smith was on. Was it A.J. Brown or Metcalf? I think it was Metcalf that scored the first touchdown.
It was Metcalf.
And I think Savion Smith was on him, and then Nick Saban obviously makes the adjustments and puts Patrick Surtain on it after that. Yeah. So a lot of adjustments. That secondary is still growing. Alabama is going to have some busted plays. Even this weekend against Texas A&M, you're probably going to see some busted coverages and probably see the defense still struggle because they're just so young. They're still so inexperienced. Right. But I think Saturday we saw just how explosive this Alabama offense can be. When Tua Tagovailoa drops back to pass, he can go deep, he can go short, he can make all kinds of throws.
Speaking of Tua, have you seen the stat of him on third downs?
Oh, it's pretty remarkable.
What is it? It's 6 for 6 for 280 something yards and 3 touchdowns.
It's something unreal.
That is,
which right now.
You know what's crazy? He has not yet to play a full half. Start a full half of football. He's yet to do it.
It's crazy.
And Alabama scored over 52 points in all 3 weeks.
He is dominant.
I think this is by far the most powerful offense Saban has had. The most he can do with it too. The most weapons around everywhere that he can just put to use. I mean, even Hurts isn't a bad backup.
No, absolutely not.
And so I want to go ahead and move on from that. We'll preview, of course, the next games at the end of the show. I want to move on to one thing that you pointed out to me that you definitely wanted to touch on. The Big Ten this week. They didn't do so hot, Cole.
No, and I wanted to kind of bring this to everybody's attention because I think this was kind of just swept under the rug from this weekend because everybody was focused in on some of the big games, of course, LSU and Auburn, and then Ohio State, TCU. But the Big Ten had a very rough weekend. I don't know if you saw some of the games, Stephen, but I mean, you had Akron beat Northwestern. You had not Penn State. Gosh, Wisconsin lose to BYU. You had Purdue lose to Missouri. I mean, it was a very rough. There was
Troy beat Nebraska.
Troy beat Nebraska. I mean, there was so many losses taken by the Big Ten, and all we've heard for about 5-7
Kansas beat
years
Rutgers.
now. Oh yeah, the Kansas Rutgers game. That one, Kansas blew the doors off of them. I mean, it was what was it 55-14? I think the final score was.
Man, are you
Kansas is the worst college football program right now.
Whoa.
Pretty much. I mean, come on.
Maybe
now.
not this year. Worse in the past. I'll give you worst past 5
Up to this point, the last few years, the absolute worst college football program is
Right.
Kansas. By far, they have been.
Definitely.
And so they blow the doors off Rutgers. And this is, I think it was 7 teams took losses on Saturday. There was a Big Ten non-conference wise. This is not themselves.
This is not Steven's side of the day, but listen to this stat right here. 7 Big Ten teams lost to unranked non-conference opponents this past week.
Crazy.
Last season, Big Ten teams were 33-7 in those such games. In games that they played an unranked non-conference opponent, they were 33-7.
And
last week they just lost 7.
And all we hear from the Big Ten naysayers, because we're down in the South, so we're SEC country. All we hear is how the SEC is overrated and the Big Ten is better. It's the best conference, and I'm not too sure the Big Ten is the second or third best conference right now. Everybody talks about how Alabama's always the one, pulling the horse and pulling the reins for the SEC. They're waving the flag and whatnot. Well, Ohio State is definitely that one-trick pony for the Big Ten right now, and there's not even a close second place. Because if you want to give me Penn State, they struggle with App State week 1.
They do. I think they all have work to do.
Michigan has problems. Wisconsin just lost. So Ohio State is pretty much your wagon runner right now if you're the Big Ten. And you look at the SEC, we have 4 teams in the top 10. It's deep this year. The SEC, I mean, regardless of the SEC East and how bad it is,
that's crazy stat. It's 4 teams in the same division.
It's pretty deep.
Same division, not even in the East.
Well, Georgia. You got 3 teams from the SEC West.
I like 3 in the SEC West. But still,
and then not counting Mississippi State, who's also ranked.
Yeah, but rough week if you are the Big Ten.
Rough weekend for the Big Ten.
I also want to touch on one thing because we are in Birmingham. UAB got another big win. They beat
go Blazers. Go Blazers.
In good old Legion Field. And I also want to point out another stat because I'm your statistician. They are 8-0 at home since football came back to UAB.
Wow.
So let's see if they can keep it going next week. I believe they play North Texas.
Next week, I think it's Charlotte this week. I think Charlotte's at home this week. The 49ers of Charlotte.
Either way, let's keep that win streak going alive.
Right.
I want to move on from college now, and let's go to the NFL.
Oh, the good old National Football League.
The good old National Football League.
Some good things and some bad things.
Yeah, some good things and some bad things. So, the closest team we have here to Birmingham, I want to talk about the Falcons. They played the Panthers this past weekend, which is a good divisional game as always. Did you get to see this game, Cole?
I did watch a good bit of this game. I did.
I actually liked what I saw.
I thought it was going to get out of hand at one point. The Falcons started going on a slow run. It was like 24-10, I think the score was.
I think it was 24-7.
24-7.
They were putting it on them. It was
looked like
Falcons,
they were running away for a second.
And I think they let the foot off the gas pedal a little bit there towards the end. But, I mean, they saw their red zone issues. They were 4 for 4 in the red zone against Carolina. They looked really good. Matt Ryan.
God, you love stats. You're just a stat
I told you.
I love Steven the statistician. I love it.
Steven the statistician, okay?
I love it.
You got to have them. They make it more interesting.
I love it.
No, but, I mean, they looked a lot better. I mean, I'm
Absolutely.
As a Falcons fan, personally, I'm happy with what I saw. The defense looked better even without Deion Jones and Keanu Neal. So, I mean, it was an exciting game to watch. And now I want to touch on. Do you have anything more to add before I move on?
No, I think Sunday though we did see the true Falcons. I don't think the real Falcons showed up week 1 against the Eagles. I think we really saw how they're really going to be.
I agree.
Last week against Carolina. But I will say Cam and that offense really struggled. The offensive line for Carolina really struggled to protect Cam Newton on Sunday, and that was really what gave the Falcons an edge.
It hurts them every year because, I mean, Greg Olsen, these last 3 years, he's been hurt.
Absolutely.
That just hurts them a lot because he's a guy he's an every down player. He's a great blocker, great pass catcher, their leading receiver.
But can we just talk for a second about Christian McCaffrey? Oh, wow. He is – because I have him on my fantasy team. I know we're going to talk about fantasy here in a little bit, but I just want to say –
We will touch on fantasy today.
Christian
I refuse
McCaffrey.
to not touch on fantasy today. I refuse.
It was great.
Great
seeing Christian McCaffrey.
So we'll move on from that game. I want to talk about your Saints, Cole. What is going on with your Saints? Is this a Saints problem or is this a Browns are getting better problem? What is this problem here?
It's a combination of the two for this past Sunday. Look, the Browns are going to be a better football team. I was wrong. They are pretty well. I still don't think they're going to win more than 4 or 5 games. I had people tell me they're going to win 6, 7 games. Compete for second place in the division behind the Steelers. I just don't see where those wins are going to come from. The Browns are getting better, obviously, and they played really well on Sunday. The defense is good. Tyrod Taylor is taking care of the football. But the Saints, they're just it's the same old problem, Steven. It's that defense. They can't cover anybody. They look lost in coverage. They have no pass rush.
Real
we
quick,
drafted
Cole,
Marcus Davenport.
Let's everybody say bye. Matt, you can
Matt, he's over here hiding. Matt, come on over here.
This is our promo guy. Say bye. Say bye to Matt.
Bye,
so
Matt.
We're actually going to have
Bye,
some
Matt.
videos and stuff coming up for you. Bye, Matt.
See you,
okay.
Matt.
Go ahead with your Saints rant here.
Katie
Your
gives
Saints
us a shout out.
defense
Says Browns are plotting to get sneaky good. I don't know about that, Katie. I think that they definitely they have definitely overplayed the last 2 weeks, and the Saints definitely helped them out because that defense is just awful. I don't get it. We draft Marcus Davenport to help out the pass rush with Cam Jordan, and we have no pass rush. We can't even run the pass as good as they've been. So
it's
been
tough
rough.
to watch, Cole. I think you pointed out last week you're wasting Hall of Fame years.
You are
with your quarterback here,
essentially.
and
you are.
It's tough. It's tough. In Cleveland, I think we can now say they are the opposite of clutch. If you have a kicker in Cleveland, you are 2-0.
Yeah.
You're 2-0 right now. And
absolutely.
And I think, honestly, Cole, this next week they play the Jets at home. They get a rookie quarterback in Sam Darnold, who, after you ran it on him, I think he heard it and said, I want to play bad because I want to prove Cole wrong. And he's looking like the Cleveland Browns can get their first win in 2 years this coming week.
Now I will say, you are right. I do think the Browns have a good chance to get their first win of the year against the Jets, and it's not because I think that Sam Darnold is going to play terrible, because I think that's what everybody else is going to allude to. Sam Darnold, he's going to finally be the Sam Darnold we saw in whatever. No, look, Browns will probably win the game because the Jets are kind of dysfunctional right now. And plus, they've played 3 games in, 11 days, I think, because they played Sunday night.
On the Jets, right?
Yeah, they will have played 3 games, and I think it's 11 days, right? Am I right on that?
That's your stat, man. I don't know that one.
Because you had them play
I
Sunday.
know they're playing a short week this week.
They played a short week, and then you had them play next Sunday. It was a Sunday night game, then you played another Sunday, then you played 4 days later. Yeah, it's 11 days. They will have played 3 games. So this is the first time that Sam Darnold is going to have to do this. But
short week, like I said, if Browns are at home.
Just because I'm trying to prove a point, I will say Sam Darnold pulls it out.
All right. I want to go on to the Sunday night game, the Giants-Cowboys. It's hard to watch, Cole.
It was tough.
Both offenses are they're lacking here. If the Giants didn't have Saquon Barkley, what are they doing?
It wouldn't be good to watch, for sure.
Here's another stat for you, Cole. Saquon had 14 catches. He tied the rookie record for catches. Not just running back catches.
Jonathan shouts me out saying Sam Darnold throws 3 interceptions. Jonathan, I don't think he's going to throw 3 picks. I mean, the Browns defense is good, but come on, don't be disrespecting him like that now. Come on. Anyways, sorry, Steven.
No, you're fine. You're fine.
Gotta set that record
Giants'
straight.
offense is terrible. I think you're wasting skill player talent. You have Evan Ingram, OBJ, and Saquon Barkley, and you're wasting it with a quarterback like Eli Manning. And I think the main problem, me and you talked a little bit about, touched on it before the show. The main problem is the offensive line, which they went out and spent money on. I'm pretty sure they paid their offensive line.
They of course they got Nate Solder from the Patriots.
Yeah,
I mean that was one of their big acquisitions was
they've got
Nate
these
Solder.
players, and I don't know if they're just not communicating. There's a couple of clips going viral. I don't know if you saw the left tackle.
Yeah, no, I didn't see that.
Oh my goodness, Cole.
Marcus, you're going to go ahead and put money on the Browns, I'm guessing.
It's bad. It is bad, and it just doesn't help with Eli. Slow as molasses, just running backwards 13 yards and getting sacked instead of just taking the sack 2 yards back.
That's been an issue for a while, though. I mean, you have like you said, Eli Manning's already an unathletic, kind of stationary quarterback, and then you've got an offensive line who can't protect him. You said if they had an Aaron Rodgers or a Deshaun Watson, maybe he could buy time with that terrible offensive line.
He's got to do more. I was gonna say it would do more for their line. I mean, their line is not
Absolutely.
good, but it just hurts so much more that Eli's just so stationary. He didn't move around in the pocket. He didn't look comfortable the whole night. And I don't think this made the Cowboys look good. I just think it made the Giants look bad.
So not really impressed with the Cowboys. Just shows
how
far the Giants are.
I was actually thinking the Giants would be better on offense this year. They look worse, except they have better with Saquon Barkley.
Is it too early to say that I think the Redskins might be the best team in that division? Is that out on a limb? Am I wrong for saying this? I think the Redskins might have the best shot to win this division. The Cowboys don't look very functional together. The Giants, I mean, where are the points going to come from? Eli can't even get it to your $1 million man, Odell.
Are the Eagles in that division?
Come on, Steven. Unless Carson Wentz comes back and really is just the guy.
You're going to say the Redskins are better than the Eagles?
I'm not saying they're better. I'm saying I give the Redskins a good shot to win this division.
Cole, I wish you could see my face right now.
I see your face. I see the face you're giving me. I really think they have a good shot. I really think they do. I think they got a good chance. We'll see. I don't know. We'll see.
So you make fun of me for hot takes? You're going to hit me with the Redskins are going to be better than the Eagles?
Marcus says, yeah, they pull their first win off, and he thinks that Baker Mayfield will play a half and save the game.
I bet he will not play at all.
I don't think Baker will play at all.
It's not Tyrod Taylor's fault. If you have the kicker, you're 2-0. It's kicker's fault. All right, let's move on real quick. I want to go to Fitzpatrick. What is he drinking?
Fitzmagic, you mean?
I'm sorry.
Drinking.
I want to know because I want to drink some of it because he is being insane. I think he has, just for fantasy sake, I think he has like 72 points through the first 2 weeks.
He's going hard. If you're a fantasy owner of Ryan Fitzpatrick, you're liking it right now.
It's crazy. I don't know what's going on. I don't think Jameis gets the job back if he keeps even slightly this up. I don't think he can get the job back, at least this season.
Okay.
If Fitzpatrick keeps it up, because how do you go away from that? He's not even. It's not even bad. It gets terrible. I mean, the Saints were bad, but last week he played the Eagles.
Now
they're
look,
not a bad defense.
Every now and then, a veteran quarterback like Ryan Fitzpatrick's going to hit lightning in a bottle and going to have a few good games. But come on, Steven. There's a reason why he's been shuffled around the league and why he's never been a starter more than a few weeks at a time. It's a consistency thing.
It's a insanity kind of thing.
It's a consistency thing.
Yes. It's popping up. It's going to be loud. It's going to be
absolutely.
It's going to be short-lived. But that's what I'm saying. I just think for this season, there's no chance Jameis gets that job back.
No. I had to disagree.
Jameis hadn't been good.
Now look. Now, towards the end of last season, Jameis started to come into his own. And now, let's be clear. The only reason Jameis Winston is not starting right now has nothing to do with his on-field issues. It's off the field. It has everything to do with his maturity off the field. If Jameis Winston could keep himself together off the field, he would be starting for the Buccaneers right now.
I agree with that.
And I'm sorry, Ryan Fitzpatrick's not your long-term quarterback. Jameis Winston is. Now, if you want to go a different direction, I understand.
I just said this season. I didn't say long-term.
I got you.
And I also completely agree that Jameis didn't have the off-the-field issues. He'd be starting. But he's not, and I think he just lost his starting position because of his off-the-field issues.
Marcus agrees with me. He has improved every year, and I agree. I think he has. I think Jameis Winston has improved every single year. I think he has.
He was better his rookie year than he was last year.
Well, he wasn't healthy, and he was serving some suspension, so he didn't have the chemistry and the gel of the team he was trying to install. And then look at the receiving core he has to work with now. Now he has a full year with Deshaun Jackson, O.J. Howard, and Mike Evans. I'm telling you, the sky is the limit for that football team.
I want to move real quick through these last two things that I got for NFL.
Okay,
we got best game to watch to me of probably the weekend maybe was the Vikings-Packers game. Loved watching that game. It was exciting through the whole thing. It might be just because I have Adam Thielen and Devontae Adams on my fantasy team.
Oh, that's
might
good.
be a little bit because of that, but it was a great game to watch. I mean, they played hard against each other. They had some controversial calls, Cole. And one thing I do want to touch on, I'm all about the controversy today, is that sack that actually kept the drive alive. You know what I'm talking about?
The Clay Matthews sack, I believe it was. Yeah. There was a big discussion about it. Look, it was a bad call.
It was a bad.
I don't think the official on the field when he made the call realized how harmless it was and what really happened until after they kind of looked at the play and after it happened. But in live action, I think that it might have looked a little bit controversial at times. I mean, it was a pretty good lick.
All right, cool.
It just happened really fast.
You had your rant about Sam Darnold. I'm gonna make mine real quick today because I think this is stupid. I think the NFL and college football is doing a little bit too. They're taking out all the hard hits. I get you're trying to protect your moneymakers. You're trying to protect your quarterbacks. You're trying to protect indefensible players. Is that how they say it? You're trying to protect those guys. I get that. I get it. But you've literally made a rule now where you can't hit too low. You can't hit high. You can only hit in the midsection. I agree with so many of these defensive guys, these veterans coming off that are now like people on shows.
They're not happy.
That are saying
they're not happy.
The defensive players are going to get hurt more because they're trying to contort their body so much trying to do this. You're getting paid millions of dollars. You should have a contract that says, look, put it in your contract that says the NFL isn't liable for long-term damage because you know what you're getting into when you put those pads on. You know what you're getting into when you don't have your head on a swivel and you're going across the middle, across linebackers and safeties. That safety's job is to hit you and scare you to not catch it again. It shouldn't be. We put so many rules against the defense that the offense just can run wild. The defense can't do anything differently. Clay Matthews can't do anything differently. He hit him straight in the hips. I agree, it's a bad call, but they're trying. I guarantee they made that call on purpose to try to get defensive players to be more wary of that.
Are they? So you think that Clay Matthews was kind of a guinea pig, and that was kind of like trying to set an example for the rest of the league?
I think that was
really.
I don't think necessarily that it was.
That's an interesting take.
But I don't think they necessarily picked Clay Matthews. I just think they were waiting on a play in the first 2 weeks that looked like they kind of put their shoulder down into him. Because I think what they were trying to protect is driving the body into a quarterback at the end of a play, which I get because you don't want the defensive lineman, a 300-pound guy, jumping up and landing on top of him after the play is already done. Clay Matthews is in the middle of a hit when he lets the ball go.
I get it. You know, we're trying to protect these quarterbacks because, I mean, look, it's a quarterback-driven league. Without these good quarterbacks, the NFL is nothing. We have to have good quarterback play. We have to have Aaron Rodgers. We have to have Tom Brady, Drew Brees, all these guys. We have to have them healthy. If they go away, we lose the league. I mean, that's what fans want to watch. But I get your complaint. I get what you're trying to say. We want to still see the big hits. We still want to be able for football players to go out there and play football. You know, make tackles, make big hits. But I think at the end of the day, I think since we live in social media era, you know, the era of social media and that everything's such a knee-jerk reaction in this society, look, it was a mistake. Yes, the official made a bad call, but bad calls happen all the time. I promise you, this week we won't see any of that happen.
They make bad calls all the time, but I'm just saying there's a trend. It's a dangerous trend in football right now.
It is.
Of weakening it. It's weakening football. I don't watch football to have the refs control the game.
Yeah, no, and again,
I have it weakened more and more and more. And I get, like I said, there's certain rules that I completely understand, and you want to protect players. You don't want players to get hurt. I never want to see a player get hurt. I don't want to see a player get knocked out. I don't want to see him have to go through concussions. I don't want any of that. I still want hard hits. I still want where you're pounding it. I still want where the quarterback has to watch his back. I still want where a receiver going across the middle can't just catch it and not have to think twice about catching it. You're supposed to hear the safety's footsteps.
No, you're right. Yeah, you should. It is frustrating. I see your frustration, and look, football fans made their frustrations felt clearly on Twitter and everywhere across the globe after watching Sunday, because that was just the final straw. I mean, there have been people complaining about it already, but that was just kind of like, wow, okay, now we have to say something because that was just bad, and it was a bad call. But then again, look. Again, we see bad plays, but maybe bad calls like that all the time in the NFL, pass interference calls, stuff like that. But guess what? Next weekend, everybody's going to watch. They're still going to line up. We're going to play.
I agree.
I mean, we gripe and complain, but I mean, it is what it is.
You're not going to get people to stop watching.
No.
All right, Cole.
Absolutely.
So we went through a weekend recap of football. I want to touch on, even though it's not basketball season, we did have 3 kind of big stories go through the basketball sphere.
Ah, yes, we did.
So the first thing I want to touch on, and I have an interesting question for you. So we just saw, I think it was today it actually came out, LeBron James' Spring Hill Entertainment, his production company, came out with a picture of locker room with LeBron James, Bugs Bunny, and stuff like that, teasing Space Jam 2. As we all know, there was the Monstars that took the powers of NBA players in the Space Jam, the first one. And they all had different, very unique, skills about them, I guess is what you want to say.
Yeah.
So I want to get your thoughts on, just real quick, you don't have to think about it long, who your five Monstars are in this LeBron James.
It would be all 5 of the current starting roster for the Golden State Warriors.
Hey, I saw it coming.
I mean, look, is there any doubt if you're going to have a movie about LeBron James trying to trounce a big-time monster, if you will, then what better monster to try and trounce than the one he's facing right now? It's the Golden State Warriors.
They all have very unique skills.
They've
got a really tall, skinny guy. They've got a bigger guy in DeMarcus Cousins. They've got a 3-point bomber in Curry. They've got another 3-point bomber who's a spot-up shooter in Klay Thompson.
And they've got a bouncer like the fighter of the group, which is
Green.
Draymond Green. So I mean, it's a
was
trash
gonna say,
talker.
It's hard to. It's
you
hard
can't
to top
beat that.
That's a good storyline too, because you've got LeBron's been playing the Warriors for the past 4 finals.
Look,
it's a good story.
They have been today's modern day monstars, if you will. I mean, look, the great minds think alike. But I mean,
I liked it.
If they're one to try and play this as any other one, then it's got to be today's goal.
We say great minds think alike there, but hardly do we ever think alike.
No, you're right. You're right.
The other big story that came out today was Jimmy Butler. It talked about a little bit in the offseason of Jimmy Butler possibly wanting a trade, or because he didn't sign they offered him an extension in his contract. Minnesota Timberwolves did.
Yeah.
And he didn't sign. So there was talks of him, wanting a trade maybe when his contract is up, or just wanting to move to a different team. He actually formally requested a trade today from Minnesota.
Mm-hmm.
His top 3 candidates were the Knicks, Clippers, and Nets. And as we started the show, Cole, I got an update on my phone that says Jimmy Butler is quotes here. This is from Watch. This is the Watch bomb here. Jimmy Butler is most determined to find a way to the Clippers and wants to play with a second star. He doesn't want to be alone. So my thoughts before that Watch bomb hit, I was saying Knicks because there's been a lot of Kyrie Irving Knicks talk, and Kyrie Irving and Jimmy Butler are known to be friends here. I'm pretty sure from the USA basketball days. What do you think's most likely here, Cole?
You never know with these.
Oh, by the way, those 3 teams that I mentioned before, they all have the cap space to sign him in his free agency coming up this summer.
I mean, you never know with these player demands when they come in, because Kyrie Irving, of course, who did he originally request? Didn't he have like the Spurs and the Knicks and somebody like that? And then they the Cavaliers ended up doing the trade with the Celtics. I mean, so you never know what's going to happen, what the right scenario is. I know where I would love to see him play is in New York. I would love to see the Knicks actually get some stars again.
It would be great to see the Knicks get Jimmy Butler and actually draw a crowd.
Yeah, it would be nice to see the Knicks finally get back to it.
I am going to see the Knicks play in Madison Square Garden in February, so, hey, Jimmy Butler, help a brother out. I've already got the tickets,
exactly.
Make it a little bit more fun.
It would be awesome to have your major cities, your LA, which of course is the Lakers, your Celtics from Boston, your Knicks from New York. If you have those 3 big cities, those 3 cities need to have good teams, big stars. They're made for the big lights. So I agree. I think Jimmy Butler.
Makes it more fun. Makes it more fun, even if you're not a fan of those. It makes it more entertaining to watch. The Knicks are the fiercest basketball fans, so it would be great.
Either the Knicks, I'll go this way. Either the Knicks, or I'm okay with Brooklyn too, because I kind of like the idea of having the Brooklyn Nets kind of back into the playoffs too. So.
All right, so last one. This was earlier this week, or it's like 2 days ago, something like that, Cole. Dwayne Wade officially announces he will play one more season with the Miami Heat.
All on board for that.
He made a long 8-minute video on it. I watched like 2 minutes of it. I was like, I can't watch this anymore.
Yeah.
But basically saying, he wants to spend more time with his family. His kids are growing up. He's not getting to see the stuff. He doesn't know if he has the same energy. Kind of the same way Kobe kind of felt, but without the injury kind of thing. He kind of talked about how it hurts every day for him to get up. He's getting older.
Absolutely. Yeah,
I think it's great because he's going to get the Kobe kind of send off throughout the year, each city. I kind of like when athletes in their prime, or not in their prime, but athletes that are so incredible that we think of as immediate Hall of Famers, first ballot Hall of Famers, that they get this city way, because it just makes it more fun when you get to go see them that last time. And you can say, sells tickets automatically. I think it's good for everybody around. So leading into this is going to lead in my stat of the day. So. Dwayne Wade is one of 6 players.
One of 6 players, okay.
6 players in the NBA history to lead an NBA franchise in points, assists, steals, wins.
He's one of 6. Okay, so what you're going to ask me is probably to name 5 other players, right?
What's the 5 other, Cole?
He's one of 6 too. One more time for our listeners.
Okay, Dwayne Wade, who is retiring after next year, is one of 6, 6 NBA players in history to lead a franchise in points, assists, steals, and wins. Not rebounds. Okay. Points, assists, steals, and wins.
And not current. You said just in history. In history. Okay, I will go Kobe Bryant.
Nope.
Wow.
Okay. You got to think. There's a lot of Lakers there. You got Wilt, Shaq, Kareem.
Okay. So is Magic in that category?
He is not.
Wow.
No Laker is on it.
No Lakers. Is LeBron in this category?
LeBron is on it.
LeBron's in this category.
He leads the Cavs in points, assists.
Is Jason Kidd in this category?
Jason Kidd is not in this category.
What?
Jason Kidd moves around a little bit too much for this category.
Wow. Okay.
These are long. They played with their teams a long time.
Give it to me.
No guesses. No other
drunk.
guesses. There's one guy that he's one of 3 players. So LeBron and 2 of these other guys.
Chris Paul. Is Chris Paul in this
category? No, he's not. Chris Paul moved. But you got to think. He
did. Yeah, he moved
with New Orleans.
That's right.
So I'm going to give you a little bit more of a hint here. 3 of these players on this 6 lead their team in points, assists, rebounds, steals, wins, and I think minutes played. Those are 3 of these players. Do you have any more guesses?
Tim Duncan.
No.
Gosh.
All right, Dwayne Wade with the Miami Heat. LeBron James with the Cleveland Cavaliers. Gary Payton with the Thunder/Sonics. Reggie Miller with the Pacers. Kevin Garnett with the Timberwolves, man. Come on, I was giving you that.
Oh, you were trying to get into that.
And I cannot believe you missed this one, man. Michael Jordan.
Oh, well, it was almost too obvious. I can't believe I didn't name that one either.
What are you thinking, man?
That's almost way too obvious, of course.
Come on.
Right.
So those are the 6.
Well, I have to say that's a pretty good stat. Good find, Steven. Good find.
It's a good stat. It wasn't that hard to find, but it was a good stat. I like that. So.
Well, what's next? What's next for us here on the
All right. So how much time we got left in the show, Cole?
Oh, let's see. We got about 25 minutes. 25
You
minutes.
think people will stick around?
I hope so. I hope we get some more people up in here.
All right. So I want to finally.
By the way, but while I'm mentioning it, go ahead if you're on here live with us, or if you're just viewing this later, give us a like, drop us a comment, leave us a share, do whatever. Go and like our Facebook page. That's a big thing. Go like our Facebook page.
Under review on Facebook.
Please do.
Go like or go follow our Instagram. Under review 24/7 on Instagram. Under review 24/7 on Twitter. Under review on YouTube. We're everywhere, people. What are you doing not following us?
Go do it.
What are you doing? We're gonna have.
You're already here. You might as well do it.
This week, I'm going to have segments from this that are our favorite segments, and they're going to be on Twitter and Instagram.
If you miss it, go and check out our Twitter and Instagram.
And we're going to have this video
it all up for
on our Facebook so you can watch the entire thing of me and Cole arguing the whole time. Anyways, so we're finally, after 3 weeks,
3 whole weeks.
Begging and pleading Cole here. Now, this is out of the goodness of his heart, I guess. He finally gave in.
I finally gave in, and I'm like, you know what, Steven, you can have it.
We're going to talk some fantasy football. Finally. All right, so I just want to touch on some things. We had some. Do you have, just for me, Cole?
Okay.
Before we get all the way into this, do you have some fantasy winners and losers from this past weekend?
Well, one of my biggest fantasy winners, of course, because he's on my team and he had a big showing, was Christian McCaffrey. I mean, talk about him. He was leading in receptions. I think he was one of Carolina's best receivers.
Are you PPR?
Yeah, definitely PPR. I'm PPR in all my leagues.
See, I'm not PPR in all my leagues.
No, so I mean, you had, of course, you still got to talk about Ryan Fitzpatrick. Ryan Fitzpatrick is still winning in fantasy right now. He's just controlling fantasy right now. And then my biggest loser is Drew Brees. Kind of had a little off week for me. You know, after last week he kind of set the bar a little high, and then this week he comes down a little bit. You set the bar a little too high for me, Breezy.
So I have my loser this past week was probably Andrew Luck. Kind of hurt my heart a little bit here. You know, only scored I think 11 points, non-PPR. Kind of hurt my heart, especially because so that same league I have my biggest loser. It's going to keep being my loser until he comes back. Is Le'Veon Bell because he was my number 1 pick. Thank you, Le'Veon.
Thank you, Le'Veon.
And I did a trade this week, Cole, and I want you to grade me on it.
Did you trade Le'Veon Bell?
No. Did not
I was about to say, I thought that's what you were alluding to. I was like, whoa, wait a minute, Steven.
Let's not go crazy here. But I needed a running back because I don't have a Le'Veon Bell right now. So that's what I was alluding to here. So, in a trade, I traded, because I got him as my backup quarterback out of Andrew Luck, and I had Patrick Mahomes. I traded Patrick Mahomes before the week started, of course. So obviously I didn't know he was going to throw, 6 touchdowns.
No.
I traded Patrick Mahomes for Jordan Howard. So I got Jordan Howard.
Oh gosh, I would kill for Pat Mahomes right now, Steven. And you traded him away. You had him on your team.
I needed a running back. So I traded Patrick Mahomes. Got Jordan Howard. Actually, I traded Patrick.
I changed my fantasy winner of the week. If you're an owner of Pat Mahomes, you are the winner. Forget the players. If you own him, you are the winner because you have got a gunslinger back there.
Him
Good
and
Lord.
Tyreek Hill is the
Tyreek Hill killing. Now I do have him, so thankfully.
Well, listen about so since we're talking fantasy here, Just listen to these receivers that I have on this team here. This is
Are they brutal?
they are deadly, man. They are great receivers. Great.
Oh, they're great.
Opposite
Okay,
of brutal,
okay.
I guess. I got Michael Thomas, who is
Good.
leading the
Quality.
league in receptions.
Quality.
Adam Thielen
Quality.
and Devontae Adams are my 3 receivers on this team. And those are 2.
You're pretty set with that.
Those are 3 top 10 receivers on the same team, man. You kidding me? And if I had Le'Veon Bell, if I just had Le'Veon Bell,
You'd be dominating your league,
if
probably.
I just had Le'Veon Bell.
I think the biggest question marks going in this week is obviously, again, Aaron Rodgers' health. I did see where Joe Mixon is hurt and likely not going to play, so my definite start.
Definite.
So we're
Giovanni Bernard.
are we, do you want to do a quick start, sit, or eh?
So
Eh?
it's kind of we're doing a new thing here, guys. We're either going to do love, hate, or or start, sit, or
I mean, yeah, because like there are players where you're just kind of like, do
Yeah,
I start
I
him? Do
definitely
I
do have
sit him?
those.
I'm kind of on the fence about him.
So what's your definite start of the week?
My definite start of the week has got to be Giovanni Bernard because Joe Mixon is likely out. So that means Giovanni Bernard's touches are going to go way up. So if you are an owner of Giovanni Bernard, I know a few people in my 2 leagues that I'm in, you have him. So you need to make sure he's in your lineup because Joe Mixon obviously got a lot of touches. The running back position gets a lot of touches out of the Bengals offense. So I think Giovanni Bernard is posed for a pretty good game. About 15, 18 points probably for him. He'll probably get a few touchdowns in there.
So my
line
definite start of the week is going to be Philip Lindsay, the Denver running back. He's been going crazy since he started. He's a rookie this year. And, I mean, he's done great. His first 2 weeks, he had 15 attempts for 71 yards. Second week, he had 14 attempts for 107 yards.
Yeah.
Added a couple catches in there. You know, they didn't think he was going to be the starter. Royce Freeman, they expected to be the starter. And he does take some carries away.
I was one of those people who thought Royce Freeman would get a lot of touches, and he hasn't. So
yeah, so Philip Lindsay is my definite start of the week. He's looked great the first 2 weeks. Gets a little bit of vultured Royce Freeman on the goal line, but not enough to where he doesn't put in work. So that's my definite start of the week. Do you have a definite sit of the week here?
Definite sit. I'm going to go Michael Crabtree. Because last week I gave some advice to one of my guys in my league. I have him in a separate one. So we both had Michael Crabtree. And we were like, okay, it's against the Bengals. You know, Joe Flacco is probably going to have a good game. He's going to throw to Michael Crabtree a lot. You know, and so we were thinking, okay, so we good. No. Joe Flacco is struggling still. Definitely my sit for the week is sit Crabtree because you're likely not going to get a lot of points out. The Ravens are struggling offensively.
It's rough, man. So my definite sit of the week is any Green Bay running back. Now I say this because Jamal Williams and Ty Montgomery have been splitting the backfield a little bit, but we just had Aaron Jones come back from his 2-game suspension. I don't really want to touch that because it's so murky right now. My other option was going to say any New England running back because that situation is also very murky.
Yeah, it is kind of murky. Who knows what's going to happen?
Those are just such timeshares. You know, you want a running back who's going to get the majority of carries or catches or whatever. And those are just such timeshares of you don't even know who's going to be in which situation. They don't even have situational players. They just pick and choose when to play them.
Right.
So you don't even know who's going to get the goal line carries to vulture you a touchdown. I don't want to touch that. I don't want to be near it.
I wouldn't want to either
shove it
if
away
I was making
as
that
far
decision.
as I can. So
You're
it's
right.
my definite sit. And I'm going to go ahead and move on to my player. Maybe
not.
I got 2 kind of players on here. My first one is Isaiah Crowell. He is because he has that big play potential. He has the touchdown potential. But he's getting kind of taking carries away, splitting almost down the middle of Powell. So it's very difficult to know whether to start or sit him because he's on that fringe. He's on that fringe of if you start him, you could get 15 points. But you can also get 3.
Fair enough.
So he's very
Well, my star sit is going to be wow. Josh Gordon. Wow, why couldn't I think of his name? My mind just went blank. I don't know. It's Josh Gordon because I don't know how New England is going to feature him in this offense in week 1 against Detroit. They certainly have a team that they can work out the kinks with. Wow, my mind just went blank, Steven. I don't even know what just happened there. I started thinking about something completely outside that topic. Anyways, but yeah, Josh Gordon definitely is the guy that I think is kind of like on the borderline of maybe sit him, maybe start him because, yeah, he has the potential to go for 20 points, get a lot of touchdowns, but at the same time, I mean, we've seen big guys like Brandon Cooks come in New England and not even get featured that much. So I don't know.
Good, though.
So we'll see.
My other guy was going to be Chris Hogan. Kind
Chris
of
Hogan?
Same kind of thing you were going with Josh
Yeah, just
Brown.
not sure what they're going to do with all that. I think we're at the
I
wait and
saw
see
a
after
stat.
week
I don't know
one.
the exact stats, so I'm not going to actually quote the numbers. But it was like Tom Brady through the first 2 weeks has just been with his receivers this year has had the worst completion percentage that he's had in like 10 years or something. I mean, something crazy.
He's definitely a little overreaction, I think, from a lot of people from last week. They're playing a pretty good defense. So.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's overreaction because last week they're playing the Jags.
Which,
Which, by the way, we didn't even touch on. I had them in my NFL. I forgot completely. Just passing by. We're going to move back just for a second. Jags are legit. They're legit.
Yeah, let's pump the brakes, Steven.
I'm fine with going full on gas on that and say the Jags are legit.
Let's pump the brakes a little bit.
Because they don't even have a healthy running back that they drafted so high, and they're still legit. They beat the Patriots, man.
I mean, look,
they controlled the Patriots.
I had a conversation with a guy over the weekend. He made the same point. He's like, this is the most talented roster in the league. Besides the Rams. The Rams obviously. AFC is what I meant. The most talented roster in the AFC. The Rams the most talented. Look, it's a quarterback-driven league, as I pointed out many, many times. And I continue to drive this point until the day I die. You win Super Bowls, you win playoff games because you have the best quarterback. I know that the Eagles won last year and they had Nick Foles, but look, New England's offensive line was so atrocious in that Super Bowl. I mean, I'm pretty sure anybody could have beat them on that Sunday if they could just score points. And the Eagles just had a good game plan for it. So, I mean, sure, you're going to hit lightning in a bottle and win a few playoff games and maybe a Super Bowl if you're a team with just a dominant roster. But generally, the team with the best quarterback in this league, in a league that's a passing league, that's what wins the game. I'm sorry. And I don't trust Blake Bortles. I don't trust
him. I don't trust him, but listen to this. Sunday marks Blake Bortles' 5th career game with at least 4 touchdown passes. All other players in Jaguars history combined for 4 such games.
Yeah, and
combined.
And again, there's a reason last year in Foxborough in that playoff game why the Jaguars couldn't close the deal, because Doug Marrone and that staff did not trust Blake Bortles to make the tough throws on 3rd and 4th down to win the game.
Part of the
reason, be conservative.
I agree, but I think part of that reason is coaching fault, though. You got to trust him, even if you don't trust him that much. There's a certain point where you just have to say,
Steven,
I trust you enough to make those.
Obviously, in practice and during the games, they've seen something that led to them not trusting him, and I think it's because they don't think that he has the passing capability to stand in the pocket and pick apart a defense. I think you really have to.
I don't think he's a pick apart of the. He's not Aaron Rodgers or Tom Brady.
Where absolutely
he's
not.
Stand there and pick them apart.
Absolutely
not. You got to trust your quarterback at some point and just say, "Look, this is the quarterback we got. We got to make a 3rd down throw here. We got to do it. That's the way we're going to win. We can't run the ball here. It's not going to work." You got to say at some point, even though he's not going to pick this defense apart.
Right.
Trust him to make that 3rd down throw.
Look, defense is solid. Jacksonville is – look, if anybody was playing quarterback other than Blake Bortles, I think I would take the –
Eli Manning.
Look.
Mitchell Trubisky.
No. Look, okay, fine. Not anybody. Fine. Okay. I'll even say this. If Ryan Fitzpatrick was playing quarterback for the Jaguars.
He's on fire right now.
I'm just saying.
That's like saying Patrick Mahomes is playing.
Well, let me just ask you this, Steven. Who would you rather be building your franchise around? Would you rather be building behind Pat Mahomes or Blake Bortles? Obvious answer, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, but also Blake Bortles been in the league for what, 4 or 5 years now?
And
Pat Mahomes been 2.
Look, I said this on another show before, and I'm gonna say this again. You know it's a concern for your quarterback when Blake Bortles in year 2. This is year 2 of the season. On a radio show, he says that he's really been working on his passing techniques.
Oh, but come on. You're
a quarterback who's been playing in college and 2 years in the NFL, and you're just now working on
his rookie year, though, Blake Bortles was great. His second year is when he had a slump. He had a sophomore slump. He had a definite sophomore slump his sophomore year. Rookie year, he was insane.
I get it.
Jacksonville quarterback. So we don't even know what Patrick Mahomes is because this is technically his rookie year starting.
No, you're right. I agree. I agree.
That's the main reason I picked Pat Mahomes because we know what Blake Bortles is now. He's 4th or 5th year in the league. I don't know.
And this is what he is. This is what he is. He's an above-average quarterback who is being carried by the talent surrounded around him.
Right. Peyton Manning, Denver, carried by the defense.
Okay.
Obviously, Peyton Manning's a better quarterback. I'm just saying, late Peyton Manning getting carried by Denver defense. That's similar to what's going on in Jacksonville right now.
Okay. Well, we found a place to agree on. So there we go. We can end there.
Can we just end the show? Never. This is it. Right?
We're not going to get out without doing our our favorite part of the day, and that's where we get to our game picks.
All right, 2 games I want to touch on before we talk about the rest. Just because I don't want to rub it in your face. Saints Falcons, what you got for me, Cole?
Look, I told you and Matt because you two are obviously huge Falcon fans when I walked in. Look, I'm a Saints believer, so I'm going to pick the Saints out of my heart. Now I'll give you a head pick and a heart pick. My heart is picking the Saints by a field goal.
Oh man!
My head is saying the Falcons will win by 2 touchdowns.
Wow!
I really have no confidence in this defense, Steven.
I was going to say the Falcons look better in the red zone.
I have no confidence going into that George Dome. Mercedes-Benz Superdome. Not Superdome. Dome.
Come on.
So many different things for that stadium. Good Lord, they just need to settle on one thing. Anyways, no, I do think the Falcons. With my head, I do think the Falcons win this game.
Playing at home, they're a 3-point favorite. I take that.
I'd take the 3. If I was a betting man, I'd
take that all day long.
I hate it.
Falcons are going to win. I say Falcons win by 10 because they will not put it.
We'll get y'all when you come back to New Orleans. When you come to the Big Easy, we'll get you guys when you come back down. But in Atlanta, the offense is clicking. Red zone, yeah. Matt Ryan's numbers are up. Yeah, that defense just has to find some work. I mean, it's gonna be tough.
I don't know what's going on, man. They got to pick it up like they did last year after the second game of the season. Because last year it was terrible too, and then all of a sudden they. So
we're in agreement. Falcons.
Falcons are going to win that game.
Right.
Next game I want to talk about just because it's the number 1 team playing a number 22 team that's looked pretty darn good against the number 2 team. Bama has A&M at home. Bama comes into this game as a 26-point favorite.
Wow,
I think that is
26 points?
I think that's rather high.
Are you kidding me?
They're 20. No, I think it's because they're at home. A&M comes in as
it doesn't matter if they're home.
26-point underdog.
Texas A&M is ranked, right?
Texas A&M is 22.
And they're a 26-point favorite. That is stupendous. That is absolutely unbelievable.
Bama is a 26-point favorite in this
and
game.
you know they're. I mean, I'm not gonna say it's out of question. They might cover that. Look, this team is just that talented, Steven. That offense is just so good.
I'm literally at a loss for words here. I'm at a loss for words because part of me wants to say that Texas A&M is too good of a team because they
too much respect, right? With Jimbo Fisher, come on now. They're not going to get blown off the field.
One Jimbo Fisher for another. We saw them play against a very good, arguably just as much talent as Alabama Clemson.
And played them right off the field. Came close.
Yes.
Came close.
Texas A&M just
couldn't close the deal.
Stupid calls and couldn't close it in. But the only reason I say that the only reason I'm iffy on that is because Texas A&M had Clemson at home. That 12th man at Texas A&M.
So you think that because it's at home in Tuscaloosa, you think that gives Alabama
that plays a lot bigger of a part than Texas A&M fans will probably want to admit because that 12th man is outrageous. It is so loud in that stadium. I don't see Bama covering 26. I think they win by 3 touchdowns though.
Bama by 3 touchdowns?
Bama by 3 touchdowns. They just have too much talent. It's at home for Bama. I think with the media talk this week, Saban called it rat poison.
Of course.
As I say,
everything's rat poison.
Exactly. I mean, I could see them this almost being a trap game kind of, with Bama kind of letting up and just saying, "Oh, we're so much better than everybody else. Let's just let up." I just think they have too much talent, though. Either way, I think 3 touchdowns would be good. Saban very rarely loses to a very big underdog or anything like that.
So of course the big stat, of course, is Saban being undefeated against former assistants, and so Jimbo Fisher fits in that category. And so everybody's been talking about this week. Will Jimbo finally break the streak? I think we're both in agreement. I don't think they get it done. Obviously, they cover the 26?
No.
You don't think so?
I do not.
You think they cover 26? Cover 26?
So they don't.
Okay, so you think Bama covers?
21.
Okay, I got you. I thought you meant that Texas A&M does. Okay, I actually am under the belief that I think Alabama will blow the doors off and will cover the 26 only because I've seen them do it before.
I've seen them do it before. Like I said, I just think Texas A&M has a little bit too good of coaching. They have enough talent there. I don't think it's going to be
good coaching, but let's not forget that Texas A&M.
Off of your that big stat or whatever, do you think which assistant here do you think has the best chance of beating Saban?
I would have now the ones that are still out there is Muschamp, of course Kirby Smart, Jimbo Fisher. Oh, God, who's the other one? Oh, Pruitt at Tennessee, of course.
I was gonna say my boy.
No, my mind was slipping.
I was gonna say my boy
go
Lane
ahead.
Kiffin.
Well, Lane Kiffin, of course. Yeah. Well, I named another one too. Okay. Well, go ahead and throw Lane Kiffin out. He's not going to be. He's not going to be with FAU. They don't play anytime soon. Tennessee is way far from competing again, so that one's out too. I'd say now South Carolina does play Alabama next year's schedule. That was just released, the 2019 schedule. So Will Muschamp will get his shot. I don't think South Carolina is close either. So I think your closest bet is Kirby Smart. I think he's the closest bet if Georgia meets Alabama in the SEC championship game. That is the only Sabanite that I think can possibly catch Saban, because Kirby Smart's kind of building a football factory in Georgia just like Alabama.
I agree. I think if you give Jimbo time.
Even if you give him time, I still don't think Jimbo's going to get there as close as Kirby Smart is. I think Kirby Smart is definitely still closer than Jimbo.
Right now than Jimbo can be, but I just think if you give Jimbo some time.
I think Kirby's close, and I still think Kirby's going to do it. That's what, if that tells you anything about what I think about Jimbo's chances. Kirby is close, but I still don't think right now in Nick Saban's prime of coaching in Alabama, I don't think Kirby's going to do it. I just don't see it. Not with this talent right now.
I don't know.
Not with this talent right now.
I don't know, man. Georgia took him down to the wire in the championship.
Took him down to the wire, but let's be honest now. If Tua plays both halves,
yeah, but Tua also threw some costly interceptions that game.
Hey, that's fine. So
all right.
Yeah.
All right, time. All right, I said time. All right, Cole.
Who's next up?
Well, that's what I was about to say. I think it's about that time. Our favorite time here, or my favorite time here, because it's a great clip. I'm going to go with our 2-minute drill here.
Okay, let's do it. Let's go 2 minutes. 2 minutes on the clock.
2 minutes on the clock.
Let's run through as many games as we can. All right.
I'm going to run through. I've got some games down, but I want
Give them to me.
I want you to get some games as well.
All right, I got some right here. Got them pulled up.
But I don't have down, because I think you already have probably some of them down. We went through the 2 games that I wanted to cover with Saints, Falcons, Bama, A&M. So, and the clock starts now. I got TCU and Texas. At Texas, TCU is a 3-point favorite.
Oh, man. TCU's got to bounce back hard from that loss to Ohio State. It's tough. Texas is coming off of a big win against USC.
Taking up too much time, Cole.
I'll do TCU. I'll go TCU.
I'll go TCU. Wins a close one. Texas just came back off that big win against USC. TCU, I believe, actually wins by 3. All right, next game I got for you, Cole, is Georgia, Missouri. They're at Missouri. Ooh. Georgia's a 14-point favorite. Missouri just coming off that win against Purdue.
I wanted to actually say that put Georgia on upset alert, but I think that this is such a upset alert game that Georgia's going to come in more prepared than everybody thinks they are. I think Georgia's going to blow Missouri out of here. I think Drew Lock will be locked.
So they cover the 14 points.
Definitely, I think Georgia covers easy.
I say Georgia. I say they cover. I don't think Mizzou has it. Mizzou can do good against lesser competition, but not against Georgia. Too much talent. All right, Cole, my favorite team to talk about. Stanford, Oregon.
That's the game day game, right? That's what college game day is
at Oregon.
Right.
Stanford is a 1.5-point favorite. What you got?
We
got 45 seconds and we got 3 more games. Come on.
I'm not going to lie. I don't know much about Oregon, but I'll take Stanford as much as I don't want to. So Stanford.
Boom! Stanford wins. They cover. They're going to win by a field goal at least. Field goal or 10. I haven't decided yet. Probably field goal. I got Jets Brown. We're going to move on. You got any more college football before we move on?
Just
30 seconds.
Just a little quick pick. Mississippi State, Kentucky. I got Mississippi State.
Mississippi State. Kentucky doesn't have it yet. All right. NFL. I got Jets Browns. What you got?
Jets. I'm going to pull for the Jets. Go for
I got Browns. They're going to win by a touchdown.
Rams.
They're their first win of the season. They're going to crack open those beer cages. Rams Chargers. LA teams. Battle of the LA teams.
Chargers. I'll go Chargers this week. Just to be different, because everybody will pick the Rams.
I got the Rams. They are a touchdown favorite. They're gonna win. They're gonna win by 10.
All right. Okay, cool.
And we are out of time.
Oh,
perfect.
Man.
You have one more NFL
just
game.
One bonus game. One bonus game. Just to end on it. Oh, let's see. There's so many to pick from. I'll go.
NFL? I didn't like the NFL slots this week. I wasn't a fan.
There's still some good games, though.
They're good, but they're not like.
Okay, how about this one? We'll go this one just for a bonus game, because it's a pretty good matchup. I'll go Cowboys and Seahawks.
I was looking at that one. I was just looking at that one. Seahawks are a 1.5-point favorite. It's at Seattle.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go Seattle. I'm going to say Seattle wins their first game of the season. Seattle's hurting because they lost Doug Baldwin. And
it'd be
interesting.
Their
offense a lot, and they don't. Seattle hasn't been the same since they lost Marshawn Lynch. That running game is just
I would
was
say
a
so.
solver to so many of their problems. Doug Baldwin was a solver to so many of their problems. They don't have either right now. It's making Russell Wilson's life hell. I just hit the mic. I say Seahawks get their first win, though. I think they win by 8 field goals, so they cover the points. They win by 3.
I'd have to agree. Seattle at home, it's hard to beat that, and the Cowboys, I think, are still trying to figure things
Seattle
out.
has
So
also,
I'll go Seattle.
I guess they have that 12th man, stadium too.
Still 12. The 12th man's still going strong.
I say 12th
Don't
man,
doubt the 12th man.
in Seattle and Texas A&M. That's a hard stadiums playing, man.
Well, guys, we appreciate y'all once again joining us on a Wednesday night. If you left us a comment, if you shared our video, we certainly appreciate that. Leaving us a like. Make sure again, check it out. We got all the Twitters, the social medias, Instagrams, the Facebooks,
the Instagrams, the Facebooks.
We got it all.
We got it all. I'm gonna tweet out my stats of the day. We're gonna keep trying to tweet out clips and stuff. I'm gonna try to tweet at least a couple clips throughout the next week. And then we're also going to Instagram some stuff. We got some new pictures coming in that we're actually going to have some profile
Thanks to Matty L. Shout out to Matty L.
Shout out to Matt Landrum Video or Landrum
Photography. Yeah, Landrum Photography, I think is what it is. Wow, that's so bad that we don't even know who the guy. Oh my gosh, that's
Matthew Landrum is his name.
We don't even know. We know his name, but we don't even know what his photography is.
I don't know. Anyways, we're gonna have some pictures. Not gonna be stock photos anymore. So we're gonna be putting those on Instagram. So please give us a follow. Just one more time for all you people out there, Under Review 24/7.
Under Review 24/7.
Under Review on Facebook. Under Review on YouTube. Then we'll have the full videos. We're working on a website right now so we can get those podcasts uploaded so you can listen to them on the way to work. You can listen to them on your phone. You can hear me and Cole in your head all the time. Don't you want that, people? Don't you want that?
Don't let Steven rent space inside your head, though, okay? he talks a lot of talk, but he doesn't walk the walk, trust me. He's all talk, guys. It's good to see you guys.
That's all the time we have today. Thank you so much for tuning in, and tune in again next week, Wednesdays at 7:30.
We're out.